The large and diverse region of Bordeaux is roughly divided into two very different parts, the right bank and the left bank. Everything east of the Gironde River, which means almost all of Bordeaux, is called the right bank. On the west side of the Gironde River, sandwiched up against the Atlantic Ocean, is a thin strip of land known as the left bank. The densely planted sliver of vineyards on the left bank is home to the most famous names in the wine world. And we are taking you inside the left bank to find out why.
We have a soil only with gravels, and those gravels gave the elegancy of the wines. Cheers! Cheers! Santé! Cheers!
Here in the left bank of Bordeaux, subtle differences in topography dictate where the best vineyards will be planted.
And if you look at the topography of the soil, you can see that it's not flat here. It's like this, you know, like a wave. And as we were driving, when we came in the Medoc, we were decreasing where we were driving, but there were no vineyards at all. And then when you climb a little bit, you find right away the vineyards, because the soils are changing. Here it's only gravels and the subsoil is chalk. And that's very important to have chalk, because that gave the elegancy that we have here in the Haut-Médoc appellations.
Another key to Bordeaux wines is blending.
So here we have two varietals. Bordeaux wines, always keep in mind that Bordeaux wines, we blend the Cabernet Sauvignon, we blend the Merlot, we blend the Petit Verdot. So we always blend the wines. Why? Because historically speaking, we were used to blend because of the climate. Because in September or in October, we were not sure of the Cabernet Sauvignon to be ripe. The Merlot were ripe, but not the Cabernet Sauvignon. So we were used to blend them and to make good and Grand Vin Bordeaux. So this is the keys.
This combination of soil type, climate, and blending skill results in the hallmark of Bordeaux wines, the ability to improve with age.
Never forget that wine, and in Medoc and in Bordeaux, we used to say that the wine has to be shared with people, and thanks to that, we are making wines for the next generation. And I'm always pleased when I'm opening a bottle with my grandfather to have a 61 or even a 72, 73, 75 vintage. And it's always very interesting. But the problem is to be patient enough. That's it. We're going to taste now. Yes. The most important thing.
If there's one thing the French do enjoy, it is sharing their wine, and Bordeaux is no exception.
I mean, 2002 was really, a lot of people say in the world that 02 vintage in Bordeaux was not so tremendous vintage, which I think it was wrong, because 2002, specifically here in the Medoc and in the Haut-Médoc, it was a vintage for Cabernet Sauvignon.
The wines from Chateau Livresson are very affordable, but still have good aging potential.
So that's the potential of a 2000 vintage in the Haut-Médoc, and here in Livresson, it's mainly between 10 and 15 years old. But if you have the wine, for instance, in magnums, double magnums, you will keep it for 20 years easily, very easily, because the potential is there.
Aging softens the tannins and allows for various subtle and complex flavors to develop.
What happens to this wine then in 15 years? What does it taste like?
In 15 years, it will come to some aromas, tertiary aromas. I mean, very. You will have mushrooms. You will have some black fruits, some leather flavors. It will be much more complex, but still have you will still have the acidity at the end.
While the wines are ageable, it's very important not to let them go too long.
I always say to the people, I prefer you drink the wines too young than too late, which is totally different.
Jean-Michel Lapalou, the owner of the domain, arrives during our tasting.
My name is Jean-Michel Lapalou, and my family owns the different vineyards of Domaine Lapalou: Château Patache d'Aux, Château Liversant, Château Lieu-Jean, and Château Lacombe-Noailhac.
For the last 2 centuries, the superiority of Bordeaux wines was virtually unchallenged. Today, however, like all winemakers in France, Jean-Michel faces huge competition from the New World.
In Bordeaux, we discovered that other people make fine wines everywhere in the world, and they wake up. Whoa, wow!
We're not alone anymore.
In France, food and wine always go together. Join us when we return for lunch at an authentic French cantina here on the Wine Travelers.
Cheers.